Hey guys, it's me again, Orcslayer. What ifs? Where we last left off is, let's see. Checking. We will be returning to What If Deku was a fallen. Now let me give you a rundown real quick. His crew, that are made up of named people, are Toga, Kirishima, Mina, Kaminari, Dabi, and Twice. He, right now, is placed in command of pretty much commander of all the fallen under the Reef. He's a pretty well-known fallen mercenary and commander, as well as somewhat of a merchant, in some cases. Well, at least some of his crew is. Now, if y'all remember, I said they'd be getting bombarded by things. So let me give you an answer. It's been a week since it happened. They're trying to infiltrate. The Nana Shimura has gone to Phobos and is trying to figure out all this stuff to do. So it's been a little bit of time. Now I'm gonna give you guys pretty much a straight up answer. Deku and the Reef are getting pretty much screwed from every single angle. They got the Hive trying to come into one area. They got Taken forces appearing out of nowhere. Got other fallen forces, knowing now that the Reef is weakened, they're trying to push in. The city and all of them are trying to ask for help. The little alliance that Deku is working for primarily is also looking for help. So he is pretty much pulling his, I don't know if they have hair, I think. He's pulling whatever he can out right now, because he's literally abandoned from a frontline commander to pretty much central commander. He's having to command Reef forces all over and try and intercept and also take down fallen ships and such. Let me give you an explanation on. Some of you may wonder, how does Deku maintain such a giant fleet with 2 catches and over like 40 skiffs and such? Well, simple answer is that he aims to disable and stuff, especially when they're in space and such. He doesn't like destroying ships, like catches and such, because he realizes those are a valuable commodity, or whatever, a valuable resource. So he aims to pretty much disable them, and then you take them back after you kill the crew, repair them, and then outfit them with your equipment. That's how he's been able to build up such a decently sized fleet for a fallen of his rank and such. And with how many he has under his command. So, he's also got several other medium-sized ships, as well as, that's aside from skiffs and such. Like other ships he's sort of scavenged and had Kaminari's group smashed together in a way. Then he also has fighter crafts, which are pretty similar to the Reefs, or old style Earthcraft. So he's also got tanks and such that he's pretty much tried to find and see if they can still work by any chance of miracle, like with the tank that they found underground. That was like an underground military base. Yeah. So, and also, let me give you picture of this. Oryx knows about Deku. He knows he was there, went to stop Crota's personal little army on the outside. He knows Deku is the one who pretty much took down every single hive, or like every hive infestation on the earth. So yeah, he has a big target on his back. That's why the Hive and such are trying to establish some form of a beachhead. So everything is quite crazy. He's pretty much been up for like those past few days. He's had 0 sleep. He's constantly had to order Kirishima and his little fleet around. He's had Kirishima pretty much running all over, dealing with any sort of threat he could imagine. Oryx, now, I don't know how the Oryx, or if Oryx even paid attention, but Oryx knows that Deku is at the Reef, and so he will be trying to take things there. But I'll say thanks to Morosov and the thing that they had prepared, they were able to sort of like pretty much negate his ability. Dang it, my nose is clogged. Oh, that's not very good, Clog, because it hurts. But what's essentially happening is that he's trying to take things while they're inside the reef to cause havoc. He can't do that. They're pretty much a force field is keeping them from being able to do that, thanks to some sort of a sorcery or whatever. Kirishima's ships and such are tearing through any other ships and disabling any other fallen ships that would be proven useful, them rapidly building up the reef's armada again, making it formidable. Now, with everything happening, Ares pretty much trying to rein in control, pretty much trying to get some form of control over the whole reef, because it's only been a few days since everything went. With that happening and such, everyone's like sort of an outcry and outroar, and some of them questioning why is, well, Deku pretty much giving entire command over the Fallen. Such, considering what had happened, they figured that, well, it wouldn't be a pretty good idea to let another Fallen mercenary take control over the remaining remnants of the houses, or the house. And not speaking of this, Deku is still having Toga and such do little hit jobs and such for the, like, assassination gigs for other houses and such. A small time, but they're mainly being used to attack high value target for the reef, and some for the city. They're going quite crazy. Oryx and such has sent, Oryx has sent, but he is staying at Saturn's ring, not trying to move anything, because, well, in this time, they've disabled the weapon. Deku's heard the great news and is like, yes! Dead Orbit now has heard that Deku, specifically him, is in charge of the reef now. Them calling this into outroar and asking what should they do about that. Pretty much is all like, what do you mean, what should we do? That fallen mercenary has caused much damage to the city. Should we not stop at least trading with them or something? Ban all guardians from going there? We will not do that. Why? Sorry. We will not do that. Why? It's because right now, at the very moment, he's pretty much one of the main things that the reef isn't being pretty much wiped away. One of our few allies, I guess, is how he phrases it. And if we stop trading with them, we could instantly count them out of our corner. And from what I know, we don't have many of them in there. Now, with this being said, Deku does sort of request help from fire teams and such, like that, teams of guardians that know about him, and such, and offers them payment for doing jobs. They go out, hit a few fallen or hive encampments or fortifications. Oryx is still trying to find some way to grab them. They've been able to rebuild the fleet pretty well, with Kirishima's teams disabling dozens of skiffs and a catch or two. For those really gutsy moves done by like ambitious barons and such, trying to push in, them failing very massively. For the fallen that were part of the House of Wolves, Deku essentially told Kaminari to pretty much upgrade as much as you can and outfit the army. He's pretty much had a few of his veteran commanders, or what could we refer to as sergeants, I guess, in the language. He's pretty much has ordered them to like take command of training troops and such. Because the dregs and such, I'm not sure if it requires more ether and such. But he's pretty much had them take off their arms and such. Like, not take off their arms, but take off the docks and have them rapidly train and bulk up. Because they're going to be training like hell. Deku has heard that there's a prime servitor in the Prison of Elders. Him asking Varix, have they thought of finding any sort of generator or something to hook up to it? Barracks is like, no generators, only thing. It generates more, not generates, but makes more servitors. Fallen feed off those. He's like, dang it. Him trying to run it through his head, what should he do, what can he do? He pretty much asking the other, like the House of Jaguars, House of Lions, and the House of Stags, pretty much scour every place and try to find a generator or something that could help increase the output of ether for the Reef, because the Fallen there, they started losing a bit of ether. Like they're not having enough. They're having to do severe rationing and such. With Deku's crew, personal servitors and such, his crew's being kept well fed and such. So with these favors being called in, the other houses, those 3 houses, start to not scatter, but they start to like go out and search. And the House of Stags actually brings back one, looking the hardest, finding it relatively quickly. In fact, almost weirdly quickly. Them hitting a few deep underground installations and finding some. Thankfully, it is untouched by some sort of miracle. He pretty much tells Varix to start hooking those up. Well, Kaminari's team start hooking those up. Toga at this point is working with, like, sort of combining information with, I forget her name. Oh, bitch. The Queen's Wrath, I forget her name. Oh my god. Ikora? No, not Ikora's. Dang it. Give me a second. Petra Venge, who is commander of the Crows at the moment, is pretty much just working with Toga and such, try and get as much information, and Kaminari with his scouts. Kaminari is having to do several tasks at once, with upgrading and repairing several broken down things, trying to repair what they can, trying to upgrade what they can, trying to scavenge what they can. Toga's constantly having more and more reports coming in since she's finally working with the Crows. Varix is looking over the prison of elders. I don't know exactly what all Varix does, but with Deku and his crew here, they've taken over some of the responsibilities that I know he took over, like commander of the Crows and a few other things. And with Deku there as more of a controlling figure, or a Kel, quote unquote, the other Fallen are pretty organized and but very quickly and swiftly put together as more of a fighting force. With the Dregs and such being even more, well, being even more reveral for Deku. The Wolf Captain that helped Deku serves him pretty faithfully. All the others serves him faithfully. He even has some of his crew do some, like, take over some sort of prison guard responsibilities. Looking over the prison, ensuring things. Kaminari and his crew, like, upgrading the prison of elders, just in case something does happen there. Them trying to upgrade what weapons they can, scavenging what weapons they can from the dead that happened there. Like, they try to sort of reverse engineer to help them or upgrade them if they know how to use them, like with the Cabal heavy sluggers, slug rifles, missile packs, anything like that. They try to outfit their ships and such with better equipment. And I'll cut back to Kirishima right now. He right now is in the middle between a firefight between 3. Let's see. A fallen house is attacking a Woken, pretty much trading ship and transport ship with a few hive ships actually. Not a lot. There's a few there that were sort of like a splinter group of Oryx's fleet that were told to see what they can do in the Reef. With Kirishima's catch and his skiffs and medium-sized ships pretty much rushing in immediately, blasting away at the fallen ships, pretty much forgetting what Deku said, because the Awoken ship is being pounded pretty bad. Pretty much destroying almost all the ships, severely damaging the ketch that remains. His crew's being sent on to pretty much board it and take it, what remains of it at least. And then Kirishima pretty much focusing down on those hive ships and are pretty quickly destroyed. With them barely acquiring a new ship, the Catch, and pretty much brings it, like it's very destroyed and heavily damaged remnants. It's not completely destroyed, but it's remnants to Kaminari's crew. They have a freak out saying, "What did you do?" They're like, "It was attacking a ship. We didn't have time to disable it." He's like, "It's gonna take forever to fix this." Kirishima's like, "Well, figure it out." He's like, "Do you know how long it takes?" It's sort of getting into a fight, shoving each other a little bit, with Kaminari being quite smaller than Kirishima, saying, "Sort it out, Kaminari. We don't have time for this. No, my crews are overworked. We barely have enough as it is. This is gonna take too long to fix. We should just scrap it." Kirishima pretty much saying, "You heard what Deku said. We need to fix everything we can. We can't fix this." As they start sort of tossing, and even Kaminari sort of shoving a bit, like he's about half the size, sort of shoving Kirishima back. Kirishima's like, "Watch it, Kaminari." He's like, as they're like, "Oh, let me tell you," as Mina, Dabi, and all of them try to rush in, break it up, and he's like, "Calm down, boss. Kaminari, calm down." He's like, "We're overworked. We can't keep doing this." And some of them start saying the same thing, saying that we can't handle this. They're sort of being almost a little friendly fire brawl, with Deku being called out to come and sort it out. He says, "What's the big deal around here?" "Sir, boss, we can't fix this ship. It's too heavily damaged. We should just scrap it." "You said we need all the ships we can. What are we gonna do with this?" "We can fix it up. Yeah, it would take attention for more important projects. We're constantly upgrading the forces that we have, their equipment. Your ships need to be repaired somewhat. That Awoken trade ship needs to be repaired. We don't have enough time to fix this catch. We could use the parts more easily to fix everything else up, though." It's do it. Try to find anything useful you can out of that ship, upgrade what you can, and dismantle the rest. Kirishima, I know you were trying to focus on keeping the lives online, but remember, try to disable, not destroy. Now come on, we gotta get back to work. As he's constantly running back and forth. And now at this point, this is a week has passed again. Pretty much Nana Shimura has pretty much, I believe I said she was a Titan. I believe. Yeah. I think she's a Titan. If I'm wrong, tell me. I rewatched the series, but if I remember correctly, I think I said, was she a Hunter or Titan? Damn it. Was she Titan? Hunter. I think I said she was a Titan. She gets the hammer of soul, the hammer, and she starts taking Oryx down. Not Oryx, but taking care of the whole missions on there. With Deku just, at this point, he collapses in his bed. He's like, collapses in his quarters, saying, sort of falling asleep for a quick minute, as Eri and her little entourage come marching in, "Deku, we need to speak for a minute," with Petrovenge, Varix, and some of the leading Awoken. He's like, "I'm up. Ugh, what do you want?" They're like, there's some issues. Fallen are getting restless, and we fear that the Hive are starting to set up fortifications on this place. He's like, "Where's Kirishima? I gave him command over dealing with all those. Fallen, they refuse to follow him into battle." He's like, "Why?" "Because they say he's not you." Tell them that this is a direct order, that they're to follow his orders. "We are so tired." As he starts to fall asleep again, he's like, "Come." As Varix pretty much comes over, not Varix, but Petra comes in, "Get up." It's like, just shut up. I've been up for several days now. I know we've all been up for several days, but give me a break. Alright, as he pretty much wills himself out of bed, coming out of it, he's like stumbling and falling back up. Tell them, what does this situation look like? They're heavily reinforced. They've set up fortifications, and from the looks of it, they have several powerful hive among them. And they look pretty angry. They seem to be part of Oryx's brood. Anything else? From what we can tell, no. Alright. Tell Kirishima to... What is Kirishima dealing with? Right now he's patrolling the area and has gotten into several firefights with several other Fallen that are trying to make a move in, along with apparently a Cabal ship. We don't know what they came from. Last Cabal that came here were the ones in the Prison of Elders, from what I remember at least, is what I remember from the lore. I'm like, alright. What we'll do, have Petra, you're familiar with command operations, correct? It's like, I'm swamped here. I have too much command. You can take time to command a little battle, could you not? Little skirmish. She's like, with their numbers, this won't be a little skirmish. He's like, I'm gonna be a hindrance. I'm barely standing up as we're speaking right now. So, who's gonna take command of the ship, of the troops? As Toga's like, Toga and all of them sort of cranking their head, saying that it will be a joint effort from the wolf captain that serves them faithfully, Toga, and Dabi. Deku agreeing with this, saying them out with their thing, sending them several fighters and skiffs, along with several transport ships along the skiffs. Not really giving them a catch per se. I'm saying they can't risk it. They need at least they need at least a couple of skiffs here, and they do have a couple of skiffs from sort of disabling and taking back. Them barely able to keep everything together. Deku pretty much like, I can't. As Varix is like, watch out, Petra. He's about to fall unconscious. As he pretty much falls over and lands almost on top of Petra. Him pretty much just snoring. Like, he's been working hard. Let him rest. Petra, post some guards. As Eri pretty much walks over things, knowing that he's been running himself ragged, trying to hold together what he can. Some of the Fallen want to leave with their new Kel, he says that. As they're walking away, Eri, Petra, and them are asking, so how's it looking with the Fallen, Varix? He's like, not good. Several of them, as soon as they heard Deku was taking commands, they wanted to leave, join House of Panther with their new Kel. It is very mixed bag with the tale of how Deku defeated the so-called Kel of Kels. They want to abandon the Reef. Only reason they stay is Deku, strong commander, taking action and commanding very well, outfitted them with brand new weapons and better weapons. They are extremely happy. I'm asking, so should we worry about their loyalty? They have one loyalty. What about you, Varix? It's like, Marasal was good leader, and Eri may prove good in time, but Deku, forgive me, Eri, but he is experienced battle commander, experienced negotiator, diplomatic, good relations with the city, and not just some common bandit. In my mind, he is the best option you could have asked for. Even among some of the others among you. Petra, no offense, but you are not leader material in the sense that Eri or Deku is. One needs an, as he would say, iron will in a way to do what needs to be done. And he is doing just that, pushing him and his crew to the absolute limits. He is what we needed, and thankfully, he is a elixir of his word. So, we will do what we can. The prison is more secure than ever, with the new upgrades by Kaminari. They are top tier, no breakouts, no attempts even. And the weapons scavenged our troops have been outfitted. They are proving quite effective. We should have thought of this ages ago. And I'm thinking, oh god, with them running it through the head. So what now? As it's shown that Toga and them are finally loaded up and are moving in. Toga getting the information and them hitting hard and fast, with the wolf captain moving in. Him and his troops are cutting through these hives like butter. With Toga and her specialized stealth units, I guess is the best way to say it, they cut through the back and cause havoc, with Dobby and his mortar teams raining down fire. The battle is over relatively quickly, even with these powerful hive. They are being pretty much blown apart by ships, with a few other hive ships coming in trying to assist, but being blown away by the transport ships and skiffs have been upgraded thanks to Deku. He is being run ragged. Like I've said, Kaminari, all of them are being pushed. And thankfully, right now, at this very moment, Nana Shimura finally charges and delivers the final blow to Oryx, bashing him down and knocking to the abyss. Not the abyss, but pushing him back. Oryx at one point did try, like I said, he couldn't really get into the reef, thanks to some sort of special warding. And Deku and them are slowly but surely securing the borders. The Dreadnought is open to be pretty much looked at, being pretty much open for exploration, I guess is the best way to say it. With Deku and the team, not Deku, but Nana Shimura on them, pretty much going through and completing the missions. With Eris Morn sending, not Endeavor. Yeah, Endeavor in them, and like Endeavor, Monoma, and Momo to deal with Alakul the Dark Blade, dealing with him pretty swiftly. Nana Shimura at this moment is gathering sword fragments, Adium plates. Here's a fun fact, I actually never completed the exact sword quest, because I didn't even know about it. Like, when the time came, it was like way past the time you complete it. And you're supposed to kill Alakul the Dark Blade in 30 seconds. I did not know that. It's kind of dumb though, but oh well. And now with Sato and his team, they're right now bashing their way against the Cabal and pretty much killing the Bond brothers. A lot is happening. Also, some of the splinter group of the wolves have been sighted on Mars. Deku and his teams Deku essentially hears that they have rebuilt the Prime Servitor. Him seeing this as a worthy risk after pretty much being like ran out, and he's just like waited and waited. He hearing that the wolves and such had pushed the rebellious wolves had pushed out and pretty much tried to escape onto Mars, going on their own holy crusade if you've played the mission. With hearing this, reports from Varix, Toga, and the Crows, some of them reporting to Deku, because, well, yeah, and them giving him the information. He sends them he actually goes there himself. He finds the Archon Priest and pretty much not challenges him, but tells him that if he comes back to the Reef, all will be forgiven, and that they will be welcomed back with open arms. you'll be given a nice safe place to go to. Him getting the response at the Prime Servitor, Holy Crusade. He's like, listen, the Reef is your home. You've lived there for decades. Now put down the weapons and we can talk this normally. He's not above killing this Archon and pretty much just forcing the rest into submission at this point. He's fed up. He's tired. He doesn't like forcing people into submission, but right now that's pretty much what he's been pretty much feeling like. They don't submit, I'm going to force them. Several of the other wolves are tired. They may be religious, but they are tired because they've been running all over the place, being quite tired. One of them, a captain, actually coming up and asking, is he serious that they'll be welcome back? No tricks, no anything. He's like, yes, you will be separated until the whole hate. Because some still blame you for rebelling against the Queen. But come back fairly and being pretty much submitted to a military service after a period of time, after you've all been given time to recuperate and calm down, and pretty much recuperate, you'll be free to return to action under his direct command. The captain and several others not thinking this is a bad deal. The Archon, since he's more religious, tries to lunge at this captain. Deku pretty much backhands him and just pretty much runs him through with his two sabers, being then killed. Now him getting answers from this captain, pretty much demanding, saying that give us the information, what has been going on. Him getting the information that the Prime Servitor of the House of Wolves is back and has pretty much told them to do this. Him asking where are they. Then he fights his way through the Cabal's fortifications, fighting through that entire little battalion of Cabal with his personal honor guard. Toga and them have more important things to do. They do not have time to deal with this. This is like a personal mission to regain troops. He cuts through that entire little division of Cabal. The Bond brothers for that one Valis that was killed, they've heard that the Panthers are back on Mars. Them trying to chase after them. Sorry. Them not being successful whatsoever. With that being said, Deku bashes his way through the facility and eventually reaches this Prime Servitor, pretty much talking with it, saying that come back, you'll have a home, that's pretty much it. He gives him a whole speech. I can't give a speech right now, my mouth is really dry. Pretty much summarizing up, he would have given the speech as a Prime Servitor saying, the Reef held us in change, brought us lower. He says that if he'll come back, he'll be under his pretty much direct command, you'll be given the respect you deserve, and that the Fallen, since the whole house was torn apart, this Fallen and the pretty much children Elixni and other Elixni that were innocent in all this, have suffered greatly. This Prime Servitor feeling, because the Prime Servitors, I'm guessing, care about the Fallen, at least into some capacity, hearing this and feeling some sort of guilty. Asking Deku to swear on his honor that he is not lying to him and that they will be returned safely. Getting this agreed, the remnants, which I don't know what they number in, return to Deku's, pretty much return to the house Fallen. And that thing starts trying to crank out more servitors, realizing that they need to get ether flowing much quicker. They've been able to flow it a bit more, but barely enough to keep the house from not starving, or from at least being put into rations. As this thing starts cranking out more ether, thankfully, this thing can not crank out ether, but servitors, and they crank out a lot of ether. Several scavenger teams and such being sent out and processing a lot. Thankfully, the ether is flowing. No children in Elixni are dying yet. Thanks to Deku endearing the fallen population of the Reef to him even more now. Him learning that he went through all that trouble and put himself at danger, several of them coming to revere him even more as their Kel, or the King. And that is a name that's been going around for a little bit, the King and Queen of the Reef, with quotations. The Queen of the Reef, Eri, and her somewhat king, Deku, pretty much ruling over the Elixir, getting them all organized, helping them, clothes, armor, training, etc. He's also doing the same thing for the Awoken. The Awoken are less open, you could say, to his help. And some of them outright reject it. It's like, alright. And going on to just save the transport ships and having them being escorted by his personal fleet, with the fallen wolves and such after a period of time returning to the larger population. At this point, they've gone on the raid and have killed orcs, thankfully. After hearing the king is dead, there's sort of a celebration. Nana Shimura earning the title of Kingbreaker, or Kingslayer. And that'll be the end of this. And if you guys want, I'll tell you how the raid went from Nana Shimura and the Guardian's Eyes. Tell me in the comments. And I hope y'all will enjoy this series again. And as I usually will say, hope y'all have enjoyed this, and I hope y'all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.